You're ready for a comeback. And with Purdue Global, you can do more than take classes. You can take charge of your story, of your career, of your life. Earn a degree you can be proud of and get an education employers respect. It's time, your time, not just to go back to school, but to come back and move forward with Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults. Start your comeback at purdueglobal.edu.
Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Listen anytime, anywhere, wherever your day takes you. And Audible members can choose one title per month to keep from an ever-growing catalog of titles. Become a new member and try the Audible app free for 30 days. Just visit audible.com/motivate or text motivate to 500-500.
Shopping for humans is hard this holiday season. Shopping for your dog is easy thanks to Bark. Every month, we deliver toys and treats just for your dog. Whether it's fun plush or tough toys for heavy chewers, we spoil all the dogs. Subscribe now and get a free upgrade at barkbox.com/iHeart.
Hi everyone, it's Amanda Rieger Green. Welcome to Soul Sessions and welcome to November. I wanted to kick off the month and talk about some of the energies and experiences that we all are going to be faced with, because it is the season where holiday time kicks off. So we all know there's added stress and pressure and responsibility, and it can feel overwhelming versus overly joyful, even though we are in November and it's a time of Thanksgiving, at least in the United States, but also universally. So we're going to talk through some of the energies and tips so you can see some strategy and maybe some blind spots and really practically harness your energy, find deeper clarity, healing, and growth so it feels more fluid rather than that overwhelming, overbearing stress. And we all know what that feels like. Just for me, this is probably one of the ways that I feel stress or experience stress and overwhelm is it's not always the mental stuff, even though that can be a ton of chatter in my head. A lot of times it is an emotional overwhelm. It's like a heaviness in my body that creates lethargy or a brain fog, but it's emotional. So paying attention to our emotions this month and being able to really purify or clarify those in simple ways, like with our breath, this is a great month for that. We're also going to talk about something that has been a game changer for me, and it is the difference between gratitude and appreciation. Gratitude, while we know it can be a game changer as far as making gratitude lists, finding gratitude, shifting your outlook, finding more joy in your day, that is actually the base frequency of appreciation, which is aligned with the vibration of love, of unconditional love. And I'm going to talk about those two things because they're not necessarily interchangeable, but if we can recognize gratitude and then tap into appreciation, it takes us to a whole other level, like quantum leap kind of stuff. And I'll boil it down really simply, and I'll use some experiences so you can see where that appreciation, that higher vibration is happening in your life. Okay, let's talk about the frequencies and energies of this month. And let me just start with the numerology and some tips. We are in a 9 universal month. I know that November is the 11th month. And that is important because if you remember, if you listen to the numerology podcast, 11 is a master number, and that is the number of interconnection of the human you and the spiritual you. So it's a master month in a way because it gives us that ability to interconnect our day-to-day life with something higher, something greater. And that aligns with the energy of this month, which we are in a 9 universal month. How do I get that? 2023 is a 7-year. If you add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3, that equals 7. So universally, this whole year, this whole calendar year, we're in the energy of the 7. If you remember back, the 7 is the seeker, the purveyor of assimilating knowledge and transmuting it or alchemizing it into wisdom. It's this intuitive and data-oriented genius that sometimes feels a little misunderstood or isolated. So it is a year where we are deepening our faith, we are evolving our consciousness, our expanding our spiritual lives and ourselves in day-to-day practical ways. That's the 7. When you add 7 to 11, 11 is November, 7 is 2023, that equals 18. 1 plus 8, when you reduce it down, equals 9. So we are in a 9 month. If you remember back to the podcast and then all the numerology info, the 9 is the sum of all the numbers that come before it. Quite literally, if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and so on, add those up, reduce it down, it equals 9. So it is the number of completion. It is the number of closure, but it is also the number of wisdom, ascension, stepping into a higher plane of living and being. Ultimately, it's the number of integrity. It's the number of tapping into your highest character. And the trick of the 9 is surrender, letting go. Also making sacrifices. I'm not sure if I've outlined it this way, and because I have a lot of 9s in my numerology code, I live with this energy day in and day out, and it's a funny thing to play with. But when I talk about sacrifice, the surrender piece is that let go and let God. Okay, I've suited up, I've shown up, I've shown up in my best light, my best ability from my heart, and now I let go and I let God. The sacrifice piece is, what am I really willing to let go of or sacrifice for the greater good? And I don't mean that we all have to be humanitarians and change the world, change the planet. But what are certain conveniences of the modern world that are frivolous, that are clouding or cluttering our day? My husband and I moved to Belize a handful of years ago. We're back in the United States, as many of you know. We moved back here to take care of my mother, who was terminally ill. But when we lived in Belize, we reduced a lot of our clutter and day-to-day stuff. We just didn't need it. It wasn't going to be beneficial, and we were living much more simply. And at first, there may be a way of looking at that as we were making sacrifices, but that sacrifice of modern conveniences, because that's what we were sacrificing. I mean, we couldn't get Amazon, and if we did get stuff delivered from the United States, there was a massive duty that was put upon the item. So if we ordered, shampoo and conditioner from the US, because we didn't always have the availability of some of the stuff that we have readily available to us that we sometimes take for granted in Belize, we had to make changes in our day-to-day life, the things, the products, the foods we ate. At first, it might have looked like a sacrifice, but then we realized we were clearing clutter and also changing the way we lived. And we both realized we could live so simply, yet extremely abundantly and even healthier by eliminating and clearing clutter. So what seemed like a sacrifice was actually this elimination of stuff that we did not need in order to find greater happiness, health, and well-being. And that's kind of the energy of the 9 is, where can you make some sacrifices in your day? I think about this as far as my time. Meaning when a friend calls or someone is reaching out because they're having a tough time or they need something, and I see their name pop up and I want to connect with them, but I've got a laundry list of things on my plate. We all understand being busy, and I like to call that abundant, as being a little cheeky and changing my words. But, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I can't get back to them. I don't have 30 minutes to talk. I mean, that is the rhetoric that will go in my head. It doesn't mean that I don't want to talk to this person or share my time in my heart. I'm just already feeling that overwhelm that I referred to. But when I think of it as, wait a minute, when can I find time to intentionally talk to them? How can I communicate with them, address them in the moment as best possible, and let them know what's going on with me and when I'm available to talk and that they matter? I'm sacrificing a few minutes, a few moments to respond as best I can in real time with my availability and my intention. So it's as easy for me as saying, hey, I see your text. I've got a handful of clients right now, but I'll have a break from this time to this time. Are you available? I want to be there for you. Right now, I'm juggling a handful of things. And you don't have to say that many words. I'm just giving you the way that I think through where I can be kind of greedy with my time and think that making time for somebody else is a sacrifice because I'm so busy. I have a lot on my plate. So I hope that resonates with you. And this month in particular, when you are feeling busy and overwhelmed and pulled in multiple directions, what matters, who matters, and how do you effectively, authentically communicate? So letting someone know, hey, I've got a lot going on right now, but you matter. Do you need me right now? Is this an emergency, or can we talk later today? Or is tomorrow's better for me? Would that work for you? That has been a game changer for me. So looking at sacrifice as also surrender, sacrificing our time, our space, our agendas for something greater, which a lot of times is in relationships and with other people. And that connects us to our collective consciousness. And with all the heaviness we have in the world right now, especially what's going on in Israel, things that can feel like they are out of our control or even beyond our comprehension, our day-to-day interactions, our energy and intentions matter. That's the energy of the 9, is how can I show up in my day-to-day wholeheartedly with integrity and to be able to be my best self, to summon my compassion. The 9 is also very idealistic and utopian. So if you find yourself this month wishing for or reaching towards ideals, things that may feel way out of the scope of your reality, take a little time and explore those things. It's kind of like dream big energy. In an ideal world, we could experience. In an ideal world, I could, and I'm not talking about in an ideal world, I would have no stress. Maybe that is an ideal that you want to put out there. But in an ideal world, I respond to stress resiliently and I alchemize it into something brilliant. Really looking at your ideals, things that you reach for that feel just out of reach, like on your tippy toes when you reach for like a box up in the closet. What is it that feels just out of reach but close enough to your heart that you want to reach for it, and then see how you can shift your language and your consciousness around it. So, like what's going on in Israel, let's just use that.
Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. With Audible, you can always find the best of what you love or discover something new. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles, like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Membership includes access to Audible originals, podcasts, and tons of audiobooks that you can download or stream as much as you want. And as an Audible member, you can choose one title per month from an ever-growing catalog of titles to keep. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're traveling, working out, doing chores, wherever your day takes you. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/motivate or text motivate to 500-500. That's audible.com/motivate or text motivate to 500-500 to try Audible free for 30 days.
We all agree that reducing carbon emissions is a good thing. And once again, Toyota is leading the way. We hear a lot about fully electric vehicles, and Toyota has them, with more on the way. But we also know a BEV is not for everyone, whether it's because of cost, range, or concern about finding a charging station when your battery gets low. You start freaking out. Plus, the raw materials used to manufacture batteries are limited. Enter Beyond Zero, Toyota's vision for a carbon-neutral future in vehicles and in manufacturing plants, too. In the years ahead, the materials used to make just one long-range battery for an EV could be used to make batteries for 6 plug-in hybrids or 90 gas-electric hybrids. That's why Toyota's position today is electrified, diversified, empowering you to choose how to reduce your own carbon footprint with the vehicle that's right for you, a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or a battery EV. So shop, learn more, and get details at toyota.com/beyond0. Toyota, let's go places.
It's Ellie Kemper, co-host of the podcast Born to Love, with some straight talk for Walmart shoppers. Walmart is the place to go for savings. And now you can save even more with Straight Talk Gold or Platinum Unlimited wireless plans. You'll get unlimited 5G data and a free Walmart Plus membership, which includes free delivery from your local Walmart store, savings on gas, plus so much more. Not to mention my new nickname, Savvy McSaverCash. Switch or learn more today at Walmart or StraightTalk.com.
Requires active service. One offer per eligible Straight Talk account. Standard data usage applies. For Walmart Plus, $35 order minimum for free delivery. Restrictions apply. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Like what's going on in Israel. Let's just use that. With all the turmoil, all the chaos, and the horrific atrocities, can I personally go over there and impact change today? No, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Could I contribute money? Maybe, but I would want to know that that was being filtered to really provide aid or assistance. So where do I reach towards an ideal of contributing, of helping, of affecting change and lifting up other suffering human beings, touching our humanity? When I'm in my day-to-day, and I've talked about this recently on my Instagram, when I make meaningful moments out of seemingly inconsequential moments, when I meet somebody's gaze, somebody smiles at me, I smile back at them, and I feel this energy of, and this is actually the energy of appreciation, so we'll get into this in a minute because the 9 tracks with appreciation, but when I feel that energy of interconnectedness that is unconditional, it doesn't feel like give and take, or if I do this, then I get this. It's unlimited. It is unconditional. Without condition, it's mutual, it's reciprocal, it's synergistic. Meeting a smile with a smile, a gaze with a gaze. You know, how are you doing today with I'm okay. How are you doing today? In those moments is where, when I experience that upliftment, that connection, that personal intimacy in the day-to-day world, I literally will feel that feeling in my body. And as I'm passing someone or driving by them in the car, even if it's a passerby, I will hold that energy in my body. I will recognize it consciously in my mind. So I'm noticing it. I'm aware of it. I will find where I feel it in my body. Like it just creates a lightness in my shoulders, or I'm smiling, so it's on my face, which is the throat chakra. You've got the heart chakra with the shoulders, the throat chakra with your smile. I mean, there are so many ways that this is working that we don't even think about, that are just autonomic. They're working without us asking. But I smile, so I notice physically I'm smiling, or my body is just looser and more uplifted. I feel happy. I feel connected. I feel seen. I saw someone else. They brought me joy. In something little, I can sense all of that, feel it, and then I consciously walk forward or keep driving where whatever I'm doing in my day, and I inhale and exhale it, and I smile deeper into my body, deeper into my heart, and I start to say, thank you, wow, this is amazing. I am intentionally sending and beaming this energy out into the world, and if you want to beam it to a specific person or situation, I could easily say, I am beaming this to all those people suffering in the world, specifically the people in the Middle East. You know, I mean, I can beam it that directly, or I can beam it to someone in my life who I know is struggling. I can say, gosh, I know this person needs my love, or I know they're struggling with this health challenge today and they've got a surgery, or they're facing a lot of treatment. Let me beam them this energy, so you share it and you intentionally, what I like to call Care Bear stare it out. That's the analogy I always think of. I think about the Care Bears and how they would do their stare with all their different qualities, you know, happiness and joy, and then they would stare it out like a freaking rainbow. That's what I do, is I just take that energy, I experience and run it through my body. So it's raising my vibration, it's touching every cell, every part of my being, and then I shoot it out into the world, either just out into the world peripherally and consciously, or I direct it at someone or something that may need a little love, may need a support. And if you want to take it to one more level of bonus, get this one, because it's not as much fun, but it works, is if there is someone in your life who has caused you harm, who Maybe you are resenting or could use your forgiveness and you're not there, you're not ready yet, you're aggravated or upset or hurting. That's the person you want to Care Bear stare them that vibration, because is it about them? Sure, but it's more about you than it is about them, meaning I am clearing my energy field, and any anger, resentment, frustration, hate, low vibing stuff that we all experience because we are human, you are alchemizing that by sending it out intentionally to someone who may be contributing to pain and suffering in your life. And we all have a role in our own pain and suffering, and sometimes we don't, like circumstances that are beyond our control. But our role is, what do I do with that stuff? And if you're not ready to have a conversation with somebody, or your thoughts are not clear, this is also the vibration of the 9. Beam them out some prayers and love. Care Bear stare it to them. So if you can, consciously see where you have meaningful interactions in your day-to-day. And of course, because it is the holidays, with your family or the parties you have on your plate, see where you can enjoy yourself and find healthy, intimate, uplifting connection, and notice that. Notice it in the moment. And even when you're talking to somebody, you can be very consciously aware, grounded, and present, but you can also be consciously noticing yourself in that state of enjoyment. This is harnessing the energy of the 9. And it's also the energy of this month and this season we are in, of holiday season time starting up, things ramping up. So let's talk about the holidays for a moment, and then we'll get into gratitude and appreciation. But the holidays for all of us can be a lot of things. They can be stressful, they can be joyful, they can be lonely and isolating, they can be depressing, they can be loving and feeling like we get things to look forward to. They can be hopeful. They can be all of those things. They don't have to be either or. So it can sometimes feel like a soup. And that's what I sometimes feel is this overwhelm. And again, it's like this emotional or energetic overwhelm where sometimes I don't feel like I can be my most joyful self in the moment, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I should be doing this, or I need to be doing this, or I have to get all of these things cooked because this is my job at Thanksgiving. I'm just giving simple examples that are coming to mind. Well, that's natural. And that's part of this monkey mind that we have at times. But if we can move a little bit slower and more deliberately, and also be very conscientious and conscious of our thoughts and how we can effectively process them and harness them, you will see a difference. It's kind of a quantum leap month. I think November and December are power player months that will take us to new heights, especially in November, if you can recognize some patterns of behavior that are creating limitation in your life. So guess what? The stress can be a catalyst for awareness. So take the stress, the loneliness, the isolation, the overwhelm, family dynamics, whatever you're experiencing this month that feels confronting, take that as an opportunity to explore it a little deeper and become willing to let it go, to heal it, to process it, to allow it to flow through your body differently. Let the energy help you do that this month. Additionally, with the 9, and I want to go back to the 9 for 1 second because this just popped into my mind. If you remember in listening to the numerology podcast, I shared with you that October had the same numerological code as January. Well, guess what? November has the same numerological code as February. So this is also a great time if you want to dig a little deeper and connect some dots, see some patterns, which is the energy of the 7, 2023, see the patterns, see the cosmic roadmap and find new solutions. look back to February. What were you going through? What were you experiencing? Where were your opportunities? Where were your challenges? What were the lessons learned? Where did you stumble and fall? Think about your reality. And for me, I go back to my calendar sometimes. For February, for me this year, I don't have to go back to my calendar because, as many of you know, my mom passed away in February. And it's a 9-month. The 9 is the number of closure, of completion of a cycle. And it was very apropos for all of that to align. And she and I had talked about that, actually, I said, Mom, it's a 9-month. I mean, and we would joke about these things because you just got to laugh sometimes through the heaviness. But if I look back to February from this vantage point, I see parallels that are already coming up for me of this new level of growth, which also means a level of closure. So if you think about scaling, when you're growing, you're also letting go of things. You have to make room for new things to grow. And a lot of things have grown since my mom has been physically gone from this earth. The podcast, Soul Sessions, I was able to have the time and the heart space and the energy to share this podcast with you. I didn't have that last year with my mom, and it was important because it wasn't a priority. My priority was being with and taking care of her and being with family, spending that quality time to the best of my ability, which I also didn't always do very well. You know, my worst came out and my best came out. And that's actually what I think about February for me is it was the most divine time, which was probably the most transcendent, mystical, beautiful, loving and graceful experience I could have ever had, and simultaneously, it was painful. And I remember very, very clearly, and I'm not sure I've shared this story publicly, but it was a Wednesday and my mom was not responsive, and the hospice nurse hadn't gotten there yet, and you know, she had really been losing consciousness, you know, and was kind of in and out, but she still was able to communicate and meet my gaze or say things consciously and somewhat cohesively. And I woke up on a Wednesday morning and she just was not responsive. I mean, she was breathing and her vitals were slowing, but she wasn't communicating. And I remember, and we had talked about this so much, it was like she was ready to go. I was ready for her to go. But when it came down to it that morning, I said, so clearly, I'm not ready for you to go yet. I said I was ready for you to go, but I wasn't ready for you to go today. I wasn't ready for you to not talk back to me. That was the big thing. I wasn't ready for you to not talk back to me when I'm talking to you. And I remember crying and being afraid, and the hospice nurse got there. And he looked at her and I just cried, and he was so incredible. His name was John. And he said, Amanda, it could be hours. He says, but that's kind of what we're looking at. He said, I knew she was imminent and we knew this was progressing, but he said, it looks like things have really rapidly changed. It could be hours. Make the most of it. And we held hands and we prayed with her, and he left. And I just snuggled up next to her, and then I played music. And I kept telling her everything I could think to tell her. Like everything was coming out of my mouth about that, you know, it was just like I was incessantly sharing, kind of like I'm doing right now, right? I'm incessantly sharing. And I turned some music on, and about 2 hours after he left, and I hadn't left her side, I'm holding her hand. And all of a sudden she opened her eyes and she looked me directly in the face. And she said, hey, beautiful girl, what are you doing right here? And she was lucid and conscious. That was a Wednesday afternoon about 3:00, and she was lucid and conscious until late Friday night, early Saturday morning. And she would come in and out of consciousness, but she was clear and alert and funny. And we started laughing and communicating. And I know that she heard me. I know that her spirit came fully back into her body to rally, to give me that time to really surrender and to really sacrifice. And that this is a deeper example of sacrifice in the energy of the 9. Sacrifice all of my human needs. I need you here, Mom. I don't want to lose you, because that's natural. We're human, right? To sacrifice all of that in order to let her go, to let her transition, which is something I wanted consciously and wholeheartedly, but the human me was not ready to let go of my grasp. And I was gifted that time with her between Wednesday, and then she died on a Tuesday morning. And between Wednesday afternoon and Tuesday morning, it's probably the most divine experience I have ever encountered in this lifetime, of this letting go and letting God, and just opening up to the beauty and the pain, and it all being the same story. You know, I mean, it was utopian in a way, and it was heavy and enlightening. So I share that with you, first of all, because it just was on my heart, and I think about February for me. But I share that with you to look at what is coming up for you in November and what you were experiencing in February, so you can maybe draw some correlations. And for me, let me break it down just to give you a little bit of support here. I feel like in February, I am needing to let go of, surrender to some old fears about my abilities, self-doubt, imposter syndrome. I mean, hello, we all face this stuff. And also asking people for help, because I learned last year to rely on my family and my friends and ask them for help and tell them what I needed. And I did that pretty well because I had to. I mean, I was exhausted and I needed help and I couldn't do it alone. And I got really good at saying, I don't know what to do, but I need you today. Or, yes, can you bring breakfast? You know, it's very simple things. Well, guess where I don't do that very well? I don't do it that well sometimes in my business life. And I don't always do it that well with my friendships. I do it okay with my husband. I think I do it pretty well with him because we have a lot of practice at that. But I don't think I do it that well in business, and I may not do it that well in friendships. So for me, I feel like there will be opportunity for me to better ask for help, better communicate my needs, and also heal my fears of being alone. Thinking I have to do this on my own, I have to do it myself. I certainly have faith that there is God. I talk to my soul and God and give it to my soul and God all the time. But there's a difference in that lip service and even that belief, and then the action, the practical action of picking up the phone and calling a friend, calling someone in my life that really can help me troubleshoot something or see things from a different perspective, that I am too clouded or too stuck in my own limiting beliefs. So again, that element of sacrificing your time and your headspace to reach out and connect. See how that tracks for you. I'm curious to hear.
Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. With Audible, you can always find the best of what you love or discover something new. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles, like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Membership includes access to Audible originals, podcasts, and tons of audiobooks that you can download or stream as much as you want. And as an Audible member, you can choose one title per month from an ever-growing catalog of titles to keep. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're traveling, working out, doing chores, wherever your day takes you. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/motivate or text motivate to 500-500. That's audible.com/motivate or text motivate to 500-500 to try Audible free for 30 days.
We all agree that reducing carbon emissions is a good thing. And once again, Toyota is leading the way. We hear a lot about fully electric vehicles, and Toyota has them, with more on the way. But we also know a BEV is not for everyone, whether it's because of the cost, range, or concern about finding a charging station when you need it. Plus, the raw materials used to manufacture batteries are limited. Enter Beyond Zero, Toyota's vision for a carbon-neutral future. In vehicles and manufacturing plants, too. In the years ahead, the materials used to make just one long-range battery for an EV could be used to make batteries for 6 plug-in hybrids or 90 gas-electric hybrids. That's why Toyota's position today is electrified, diversified, empowering you to choose how to reduce your own carbon footprint with the vehicle that's right for you, a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or battery EV. So shop, learn more, and get details at toyota.com/Beyond Zero. Toyota, let's go places.
It's Ellie Kemper from the podcast Born to Love with a little straight talk about Straight Talk Wireless. See, Straight Talk Gold or Platinum Unlimited plans give you unlimited 5G data and a free Walmart Plus membership and free delivery from your local Walmart store and an included Paramount Plus subscription. I just said plus or and about 57 times, and that's how much value you get from Straight Talk Wireless. Switch or learn more today at Walmart or straighttalk.com.
Requires active service. One offer per eligible Straight Talk account. Standard data usage applies. For Walmart Plus, $35 order minimum for free delivery. Restrictions apply. Paramount Plus essential plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
All right, last but not least, let's take this to a whole nother level. Let's rocket it into another dimension. Gratitude. Okay, gratitude's a game changer, y'all. Let's start with the definition of gratitude. I just pulled this up online. It says, gratitude is the quality of being thankful and the readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. So the quality of being thankful and then the readiness to show appreciation for and in return to kindness. So there's a transactional element to gratitude. And there's nothing wrong with this. This is not any kind of negative and no slam on gratitude. I'm a fan of gratitude. It's gotten me out of a lot of my stinking thinking. So the quality of being thankful, but this readiness to show appreciation. So that in and of itself tells us that readiness is an action. It's showing more. And it's in return for something. So there's this transactional nature to gratitude. So it's this great starting point. Here's where appreciation differs. Appreciation literally is seeing the nature of something, the true nature of something, and it is an increase of value. Think about appreciation with money. Money appreciates, property value appreciating. Think about appreciation as growing, leveling up. It is an increase in value, and values. We've got perspectives, we've got beliefs, and then we've got values. And they are hardwired, and they are sometimes like concrete and steel. That's what I say. And appreciation is something that inherently, intrinsically can grow within us. It is also, and here's the kicker, it is the absence. When we experience appreciation, it is the absence of resistance. So fear and doubt, self-criticism, denial, anything that is a lower vibrational, ego-based, fear-based thing, appreciation is the utter absence of that. So it vibrates in alignment with love, unconditional love. And any way you want to look at love, whether it is family, children, romantic love, spiritual, divine love, all the big stew of love, that uplifting, interconnected oneness. That's kind of back to that utopian energy that I was referring to in the energy of the 9. It is this universal humanitarian thread that runs through us, and this interconnectedness is what it is. So it is appreciation resonates at this really high vibrational frequency. Let me give you a couple of examples. Years ago, and I will never forget this because this is the first time I remember recognizing the difference between gratitude and appreciation. It was probably, I'm going to guess 2014, maybe 2015. I was driving home from work, and I was driving along this road that I always went down that was really beautiful. And I whined around the road, and it had been raining, and I looked up, and there was a rainbow starting to peer out through the clouds. And I looked down, and I'm driving by this horse farm that is a rescue and rehabilitation refuge for horses that were too old or had been sick, were needing to be rehomed. So there's all these horses playing, literally, some of them were galloping and playing, drinking at a pond. I look up and there's a rainbow. I mean, I can't paint this picture more ideally, but it was a very busy day at work. I had just driven probably an hour and a half home. I mean, it was one of those days where there was tons of stuff going on, lots of things, responsibilities, the stresses of life, the joys of life, all the day-to-day stuff is going on. And I'm driving home. I'm about 5 minutes from the house. I drive around this corner. I look up and I see this, and it captured my attention, my consciousness, my spirit, my heart. And I looked up and it was stunning. It was peaceful. It was as if I was part of a picture or a painting, which is essentially the energy of mysticism or transcendence, really, really feeling a part of something bigger or higher. And this is a seemingly inconsequential moment, right? And all of a sudden I drive around a curve and I am like enlightened, for 30 seconds here as I'm driving around, slowing down. And as that happens, I remember I had this wave of stuff rattling out of my head saying, I am so grateful for my life. I am so grateful I'm sober. Oh my gosh, I'm almost home. I've had a good day. Things were good today. I have a husband that loves me. I get to have the evening off. I mean, it was like all this little stuff that I was grateful for. It was like a computer USB had been shoved into my body and had rattled off stuff from the past 3 or 4 years where I had grown, I had shifted, I had changed, and I was grateful for everything in my energy field. And it was like tears of joy, but I just felt this appreciation for life, for where I was, the things that I had, the people in my life. The list goes on, but it was transcendent. And then I take it a step further because I'm driving. I have about 5 minutes for the rest of my drive home, and I was feeling it and smiling and crying. And in that moment, something came to me is, Amanda, do not keep this to yourself. Amanda, share this. Amanda, share this with someone who you love and care about. And I picked up the phone and I called a very, very dear friend and mentor and spiritual advisor of mine, Ellen. And I said, Ellen, I have to tell you what just happened. And I tell her, and I said, I am so appreciative of life. I am so grateful for where I am today, but I feel this utter growth and appreciation and expansion and awareness. And I'm appreciative of you and your influence in my life and being there. But I had to tell somebody, I had to share this with somebody. I had to make it real. I had to ground it into reality. And of course, she was smiling and crying and laughing. And we were talking about how, oh my gosh, isn't it amazing that the only constant is change? And we can be in the midst of a busy day and then all of a sudden have a rainbow in the clouds. To quote Maya Angelou, where's the rainbow in your clouds? And it was like, you don't know when a rainbow appears until it appears, and then seeing it. And not only seeing it, sharing it, telling someone else. It just creates this cycle of vibration that resonates. So I experience appreciation all the time now. If I notice something while I'm driving, I saw it this morning. I was driving to a doctor's appointment, and this is funny enough because I don't know why horses are coming up, but horse spirit medicine is about freedom, by the way. So this morning as I'm driving, I passed this other little field of horses, and they were galloping and playing, and they were miniature horses, and they were all running and playing together. And I saw them, I almost got in a wreck because I was like rubbernecking them and watching and slowing down. Nobody was behind me. It was fine. But I was laughing and so giddy like a child watching them romp around in this field. And I was giggling and uplifted. And immediately I noticed I was giggling and uplifted. And then I didn't pick up the phone and call anyone and tell them about it. I'm telling you all about it now. But what I did do was I just ran through my body and I said, I am appreciative. I am one. I am loving. I am beaming. I am Care Bear staring this love out, not only to my day-to-day experience and environment, but to anyone that needs it. And then I beamed it out a few other places that I could consciously, and then I turned the music up and I smiled. And I just drove and enjoyed parts of my drive. And then I met someone else's gaze and someone else was nice. And it was like a domino effect, that appreciation and experiencing this increase of internal value, internal worth, started to essentially harness within my being. So all of that to say, where can you take this season, all the stressors, all the joys alike, and where can you, yes, get grateful, but use that as a gateway to notice the vibration of appreciation in your life, day-to-day experiences. And when you do, can you harness it a little bit higher, further, longer? 12, 18, 21, 30 seconds, and then can you share it? Can you share it with someone else, whether you beam it out to them or you pick up the phone and say, guess what just happened? I saw these horses playing in a field. Wherever you experience it, can you feel it, breathe it, embody it, harness it, add value, and then share that value out in the world? That is the energy of this month. And will this stuff be easy? No, it's going to be an intense month in some ways. And I want you to know that. And it doesn't mean that you're setting the intention that it will be intense, but growth and quantum leaps. There is a period of mass tension and intensity that usually happens before a giant leap forward. So if you are experiencing immensity, intensity, stuff is coming up for you, old pain, old trauma, new pain, new suffering, new trauma, new loss, anything, health issues, work stuff, romance, family stuff, notice it and see where you can consciously shift and harness that to add greater value, because you will see that quantum leap start to take root later into the month and even more so into December. I hope all of you are well, and we've got lots of great dialogues and conversations coming up this month on Soul Sessions, talking about wellness, personal wellness, and organizational, corporate, professional wellness, and also family stuff, day-to-day things, stressors that we deal with, and practical and conscious and super conscious ways to harness, shift your vibration and to quantum leap forward. Thank you for joining me. I'm Amanda Rieger Green, and you've just listened to Soul Sessions.
No one likes to talk about money. Am I saving enough? Can I buy a house? Am I paying too much in taxes? Will I be able to retire? What if you could unlock insights about your finances in less than 5 minutes with a clear picture of where you stand today and where your money can work harder? Now you can. Visit Facet.com to take the free quiz and get your financial wellness score today. That's FACET.com. This ad is sponsored by Facet. Facet Wealth Incorporated is an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor is it investment, legal, or tax advice.
What happens when the right people connect? At MITRE, breakthrough technology advances. People fulfill their passions, diversity fuels innovation, and our way of life thrives. From health to transportation and global security, cyber and AI, to space and back again. There's no higher calling than making the world a safer place. Let's connect at mitre.org/careers. That's MITRE.org/careers.
The single most unifying position held by Americans is an appreciation for those who protect our freedoms and families. You can help honor fallen or disabled U.S. service members and first responders by donating to Folds of Honor. We award scholarships to make sure the educational dreams of their sons, daughters, and spouses live on. We have a 4 out of 4-star ranking on Charity Navigator, so you can give with confidence at foldsofhonor.org. That's foldsofhonor.org.